I watch movies, and I watched a new one, brand new, just came out on DVD last night, called Gemini Man, and this is the new Will Smith movie, and it is PG-13, by the way. I think, and it's an action movie, and it was actually really good. I only heard like one or two derogatory words in this movie, and the movie is okay. Now, Gemini, I understand to mean the word twin. So if you're into all of that, those words, which I'm not at all, Gemini meaning twin. So what the movie is about, and I'm gonna, if you don't want to hear this, if I'm gonna break your you want to watch this movie and you don't want to know what it's about, I'm not going to give you the end, but I give you a generalization. You can watch the trailer and get this much out of it. Will Smith's character is like a hitman that wants to retire, but he can't because the guy that made him, who he is, cloned him. And so what you see in the movie is Will Smith playing both parts, but the clone of Will Smith is CGI'd in to make him look like 23 years old, and he's playing a 51-year-old man. The movie was okay. I'm giving it an okay rating, and I'm also giving it, if you like action movies, you like Will Smith, then yeah, I recommend it. You can watch it. It's decent enough that there's no nudity or even, they don't even try to be anything like that. Will Smith usually does some real decent movies when it comes along that way, but it was okay. It's just, here's my point. One of the reasons I'm wanting to bring this up is that they seem to be, it seems to be a theme anymore among movies to do cloning, and I don't get it. I mean, there is several movies and TV shows that are about cloning, and I don't understand the reason for that. I know that possibly in the future they could, but it seems to be a highlighted theme. And so anyway, that's kind of, I mean, if anybody wants to respond to that, you can. I'm not asking for responses or anything like that. So yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, it kind of brings up a very interesting ethical question, is in relating to a clone. If there's a human clone, think about this. A clone would be a creation of man.
Yeah.
So does that clone have rights?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you made me think about there, because it's like, can a clone retire? Is a clone a slave? Is he simply a patented object of the lab, where he has to do what they created it to do, and therefore, no matter what, it must, or that creature must do what it's told to do and function the way it was designed to function?
But I think we're missing the point. Why are there so many movies? It's because they're already doing it. Remember, the movie sort of, the powers that be let everybody know what's going on through media.
Well,
yeah.
So there was another movie that's called Replicas,
Right.
and
Right.
that has to do with
not too long ago.
right? Yeah. And so the reality of it was, well, the company where they used the equipment to make the clones, which he recloned, spoiler alert, he recloned his family. And so does the family belong to the company, or does it belong to the man who recreated his family?
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, it's a God thing too. In other words, we're playing God. Of all the things that there is of God is that his creation of life, period, is massive. So to be able to create a life and have it live like that I mean, plants, plants, I love plants because it is a life that comes forth, from out of the earth. But a human being or even a sheep or whatever that you create like that, that's literally playing God. And it's like, I can't handle that aspect of it. So, AviGayle, want to join in?
Yeah, I'm going to do another spin on this.
Sure.
Because
Spins.
the reason I'm saying that, because you pointed it out at the very beginning, the sixth house in the solar system is Gemini, and on the sixth day, God created man and beast.
Very good.
And so it's interesting that they're using that because there's a lot of spiritual consistency with the Gemini. I'm not talking astrology. I'm talking more like the heavens declare the glory of God. And so the sixth day was creation of man and beast. And it's interesting how the world will try to pull out things that are a counterfeit. But there is that very interesting depth of man and beast being created on the same day. And it just seems to constantly be a battle going on in the minds of all of us, as far as keeping ourselves separated from the beast and being more created in the image of God. And that, so I just see it as, I know this is a different movie. A different message.
No, I think I think they know what they're doing. I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. So I just think it's it's amazing how that they just will always use, they'll pull out a counterfeit. They don't even know it's a counterfeit. They have no idea. It's almost like the enemy is just using them to try to create confusion and deception. But if you look at it on a layer of creation, you can find some layers of truth in there and whatnot. But anyhow, that's how I saw it.
That's good. That's very good. Well, I'm with you. Go ahead, John.
Well, I was also going to throw this in. That's very interesting, AviGayle, because of the, just the whole aspect of are we, we can either be beast or human. It's really our choice. But the other thing is can a clone have a soul? So if a clone is not, if it is created in a lab, it's a replica of a person, so to speak, in this case, then does it even have a soul? Then if it doesn't have a soul, which is, related to the mind, the will, the emotions, soul, which, that is connected to our spirit, that's eternal, then if it doesn't have that, then what's animating it? Mm-hmm. And the whole thought is that there's disembodied spirits that want to inhabit a body. So truly, we were talking about this the other night at Life of Worship, is then there are familiar spirits that know us. They've been around us. They've been in our generations, that can replicate our soul, our mind, our will, emotions, our personality, the way we walk, the way we handle ourselves, the way we talk, a complete mimicking of it. If a familiar spirit inhabits, or multiple spirits inhabits that clone, we're really getting out there. But then can that, it's not even a person. It is a beast, and it's just being a body housing a demonic presence. So there's
let's just say that these clones, they can, and like Sandy says, she believes they already are, and what this movie depicts also, which is also come to mind, they've talked about this publicly, is that if you can create a clone and multiple clones for an army, and it's like in this movie, one of the clones created was literally for battle. That's all it was created for, and raised, up to a certain age. And it was a clone of a person that could do anything. He was the best shot and everything, the best warrior that this company had and everything. And so they created his clone to be tenfold better than him. And if they could create multiple ones, they could care less if they died, because they have no human connection to them. And so they could create, all they have to do is just keep creating. But that in itself even kind of bothers me, because I don't think that we're really going to be physically at war much anymore, as much as we are technology war, and so I don't know what they call that, but I know there's a word for it. But anyway, that's my take on that. So anything else anybody wants to add?
I just want to say that to me, it just seems like it's again, it's a deception, because when you look at human beings, again, and we all have a function, and there's a specific function that there's a gifts and callings that are within us. So they're trying again to pull from that and saying this particular one has this clone is for warfare, And so I just see that there will always be some form, if we look at everything, the movies and everything, that there's that almost like whoever it is that wrote this, it was like something was stirring in them, and maybe they were trying to understand creation, and us being created in and they may look at, if you're religious, you're just a clone, where it's quite the contrary, because we're not robots. We have reasoning, we can make choices, and we may be made in the image, in the image of the Most High, but we have choices to make. We're not robots. And so I just think the world has a way of, again, putting that kind of information out there, and people that don't read the word or aren't walking with the Lord, they can see that and say, see, that's why I don't get involved with religion, because there's a bunch of clones out there. They're all doing the same thing. And, I'm just seeing that on that level, and I see that there's always that kind of a spin. And I feel like I'm always trying to, when I talk to people who watch these movies and they're not in the word, and they're really all caught up in it, like Disney World, that fantasy, they get caught up in fantasy about princes and kings and queens, when we do have a king, so anyhow, I just say there is a king, there is a kingdom, and it's not Disney World, but anyhow, so I'm always feeling like I'm trying to bring reality and spiritual understanding to people, because they get caught up in the world's perspective, as opposed to seeing it through the eyes of the Creator and what we're all about.
Very well put. It's one of those things. I love to watch the movie, but in my head, when I'm watching a movie like this, I'm analyzing it based on the Word of God, and that's kind of my. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Anyway, I think this is great. To discuss through this. All right.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.